Yo, with that being said, what's up, my brothers and sisters? This is your boy Ray Ray coming at you with another Fat Boy Takes. Fat Boy Takes. Today we are going to be talking about fantasy football for noobs, for first timers. Because, yes, in 2019, there is still people out there that have not joined a fantasy football league and kind of don't know what the heck they are doing. I'm no expert at this fantasy football BS, but I've made the playoffs almost every time since I started, like 3 years ago. I've only missed the playoffs once, and that was because some bullshit, but that's okay. So I will give some tips that I think will be helpful for new people. Yeah, and let's get to it. Also, I would like to apologize for last week. There was a part of my podcast that my mic was messed up. And I don't know why. It was just like all echoing and stuff. And it sounded like garbage. So yeah, I'd like to apologize for that. I had no idea. I tried to replay the audio. I thought I had fixed it. And then, yeah, it was still messed up. So I'm sorry about that. It kind of sucked because I had no idea. But a couple of people were like, yo, man, your podcast was like kind of echoey. Do you know what was going on? I was like, no, maybe my mic is getting old. You know, me and this mic have been through a lot of things, you know, a lot of streams, you know, a lot of guys gets gotten knocked over a million times while I've been drunk playing video games and stuff. So yeah, I think it's probably on its last legs, which is okay because I think it's time to upgrade. You know what I'm saying? Get a nice, new, fresh, brand new mic. Oof! Alright, so here we go. Number one, fantasy football is great. It's fun. It's like literally just an excuse. Well, I don't know about you guys, but the league I'm in, we just started throwing like a party, like a draft party, and it's fun. You know, it's like something it's just an excuse to get together with some of your best friends and drink beers and shoot the shit. It's awesome. And then most, like 90% of the time, a lot of shit talking goes down. And you know, shit talking is always fun. Banter is always fun, you know. So that's always great, you know. It's just kind of like an excuse to meet up with your boys and do something with your boys. You literally gonna do this fantasy football thing for like months, and it's great and it's fun. You're interacting with your boys a lot, so that's always good. Because like 90% of the time, these leagues are made up of your friends. So, you know, it's something cool that you get to do with your friends. Alright, so with that being said, basically, this is going to be like my guide for like noobs. Because when I first drafted, you know, I kind of didn't really know what I was doing. And I know there's a lot of people out there that don't really know what they're doing. But I was kind of lucky because I would watch football. So I kind of like knew some stuff like when it came to drafting players. But obviously I didn't know enough because I didn't win shit. I didn't win the chip. Womp womp womp. Feels bad, man. But hopefully this is my year. Fuck everybody else in my league. I'm gonna fuck them up this year. I'm gonna win it all. You heard it here first. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna kind of dumb this like down. Like I'm sure like people are gonna be like, oh, why did you explain this? But I just have to explain it so then I can just kind of go from there. So basically, you're going to have to draft one QB, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 flex. A flex is a player that can be a running back, a receiver, or a tight end. Basically, he's just there for extra points. And then you have your defense and your kicker. So, with that being said, let's get it started. I believe with the first pick, you should pick somebody that is projected in the top 8. This is depending, well, obviously, if you do an 8-man league. We do 8-man PPR, me and my friends. We think that's like the perfect number. So that's why we do 8-man. People have, you know, we've been thinking about adding people, but we're always just like, nah. It's cool. The 8-man PPR is great. You know, it gives you lots of options. Like when it comes to the waiver wire, so it keeps the league kind of interesting. So we like to do an 8-man league and yeah, PPR. So with the first pick, I think you should pick somebody that is projected in the top 8. But the issue with that right now is that there's players that are holding out. So like Ezekiel Elliott, he's projected to go now. He's so in a lot of draft boards, he's projected to go like top 3. But the thing is, if he holds out, you can't. It's just you're just wasting a draft pick. Well, and actually, you're wasting your first round draft pick. So you got to be careful with that. Same thing with Melvin Gordon. You got to be careful with those two guys. Also, our league we draft really really late. It's just because our schedules are so bad. And there's those leagues that draft really really early, like at the beginning of the month, like right when you're able to do it. A lot of people start doing their drafts. So for like in my case, like in our league, all my buds, we are kind of lucky in that sense. Because who knows, what if he gets signed, Zeke and Melvin Gordon get signed, we have those two players as an option. But it's looking like those two players are in it for the long haul right now. So be very, very cautious drafting those two dudes. Obviously, you can draft Michael Thomas now. Michael Thomas just got paid. And Michael Thomas is going to go top 8. So Michael Thomas you obviously can do it now that he got signed. So just be cautious with Zeke and Melvin Gordon, because that whole Le'Veon Bell thing, it's legit. My buddy drafted Le'Veon last year, and he got screwed because he had to hold a roster spot the whole year. Yeah, since my boy had to hold that roster spot the whole year, he couldn't make any moves, and Le'Veon was his best player, so that sucked for him. He literally was holding a roster spot for a player that didn't play all year. So yeah, be cautious with that. When you draft your first round pick, make sure the player's not holding out. And obviously you're going to want to look at the stuff ESPN has, Bleacher Report, like Yahoo, like the boards, like what numbers they have people projected, so you could get a kind of idea of what players you want. Also, always have a backup plan, because it happens all the time where you're like, yo, I'm going to get this player, and the dude that literally drafts right before you snags your player. So always have a backup plan when it comes to drafting, definitely, like I said, always have a backup plan, because you're going to have to be thinking on the fly when you're drafting, because you're not going to be able to get every single player you want. So make sure you have a backup plan in case somebody swoops up the player you want. Make sure you already have another option ready to go, so you can just be like, click, boom, my player, motherfucker. Yeah, so like I said, boom, my player, motherfucker. Just a couple of tips when drafting RBs. You're obviously going to want an RB that can catch, especially if you're doing PPR, because you get points for if he's able to catch a pass. So you want an RB that gets, his usage is high. Obviously, you want the usage to be high. You want him to be able to catch. You want him to get good yards per carry. So those are some of the things you need to look at. Because there's a lot of people that are just going to draft okay, this RB, I'm going to draft this one. And they don't really know what he can do. It's especially if you're new, you're not going to do any of that research. If you want to be successful in the league, you're going to have to look at some of that stuff. I'm just saying, I don't know how into it you are, but if you're not a football fan, playing in a fantasy league, I promise you will start watching way more football, because you are going to want to watch your players and see if they do well. So just giving you all a heads up, you're going to invest some time in this, and you're probably going to end up watching more games. Just going to throw that out there. So, with that about the RBs, you want him to catch. You want him to get good yards per carry. And obviously, you don't want an RB that is very injury prone. So, just keep that in mind. If you're thinking about drafting a certain RB, just, there's a ton of articles about a lot of these dudes out there. So you'll know if they've been injured or not. So yeah, basically that's all you need from an RB. Good, able to catch, good yardage per carry, and the usage. Also, tip, you want to draft an RB that's on a trash ass team. There is those RBs that are really, really good, aka Saquon Barkley. Saquon is literally going to go number one for the simple fact that the Giants are complete dog shit. And that team, he's going to play every single game, no matter what. Even like when it comes playoff times, you're going to have Saquon there. And also depending on some of the, and there will be some of those RBs out there that are going to be playing, like that are really good. So you kind of want to try to draft one of those dudes. But the thing with Saquon, I'm 100% sure Saquon will go number one. So I don't think Saquon will be there. Saquon's projected to go number one in almost like every single draft board. So yeah, with that being said, here we go. Let's talk about the receivers. The receivers, you obviously want a receiver that gets a lot of targets. He gets the ball thrown to him a lot. His use, you want again usage. You want his usage to be high. So you want him to, he gets a lot of receptions. He's very, very, you want him to be reliable. Because, like, dude, I've drafted receivers, a.k.a. fucking bitch-ass A.J. Green. That man got injured on me, like, twice. So that kind of sucks. Like, I didn't learn my lesson. Well, I only drafted him one time. But the prior year, my boy had drafted him. And my boy actually missed the playoffs because A.J. Green got in a fight. That's the year he got in a fight with Jalen Ramsey. My boy missed the playoffs because he lost that game. So my boy's like, me and my boy have a little, beef with AJ Green because he kind of cucked us. But yeah, you want a receiver that's reliable, averages a lot of targets, doesn't get injured. And then obviously the tight ends, you want to go for like Kelsey, Ertz, Kittle. Those are like the three best ones. And the thing with the tight end position is like literally one of the hardest positions to get points from. Well, it was last year. Hopefully that changes this year. It was super hard to get a lot of points in the tight end position. Obviously, Kelsey was the number one scorer in the league. So if you had Kelsey, you were doing great in the tight end position. You were getting mad points and all that. And then let's talk about the flex. In the flex position, you can put an RB, a tight end, or a wide receiver. It's whoever you want. Whoever has a better matchup that day, you want to put in your flex position. So basically that's kind of... Well, and obviously you want to draft the defense. Do not draft your defense in the 7th round. We had a dude in our league last year that drafted the Jacksonville defense in the 7th round. And he had no RBs. So he kind of fucked himself. Don't be that guy. So don't... Make sure you have your roster first. All the players you want. Make sure you have your 2 RBs, your QB, your tight end. And also draft the kicker last. But yes, just make sure that you have everything set first. You have all the players that you want first. And then draft the defense. Because the defense will most likely be there. And also, defenses get waived all the time. So you can pick one up off the waiver wire. So you can do that. So make sure you draft your squad first, and then you get the defense. That's pretty much it for like every position. I obviously had to go over that because some people don't know. So now I'm gonna like try to give some tips like that. Obviously ESPN ain't gonna be like, you guys should do some blah 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 blah. So basically, now that we talked about all the positions and all that stuff, just a couple of tips that I've noticed that I wish somebody would have told me these tips, But you'll learn over time. But I don't want you guys to be learning over time. I want you guys to like listen to this and be like, okay, fuck yeah, I didn't have to learn this on my own. Alright, so here we go. When you draft, do not draft with your heart. Don't be a homer. Yes, I am guilty of this myself. I love the Cowboys, and I've drafted players from them that kind of didn't really produce much for me. So, do not draft with your heart. You got to draft the best available players. You got to draft the best possible squad that you can draft. No drafting with your heart. Pro tip, you will get way farther if you draft the best team absolutely possible. So do not draft with your heart. No matter how much you love your damn squad, no, you trying to win. You ain't trying to have your squad shit the bet on you and then you lose because you drafted players from your favorite squad. Also, you got to pay attention to the waiver wire. You got to see who's getting added and dropped. And like I said, always keep an eye out for the injury reports. Make sure you have a plan just in case your player gets injured. Make sure especially because you're gonna know if a player gets injured right away, and the report usually comes out such and such is injured, and it's like, damn, what do I do? So as soon as you find out one of your players is injured, start looking to see what your next plan is, what you're going to do about that. Because especially if it's a player that you need to play, make sure you have a backup plan. Because there will be those scenarios that you will have to kind of do stuff on the fly. That a couple of your players got injured. Because sometimes you will get multiple injuries. So you'll be like, oh, damn, I just got all these injuries. What do I do? So you got to start looking at the waiver and see what kind of squad you can piece together. And another tip, in our league, it is really, really hard for trades to go down because we are all assholes. I'm just going to say the truth. We're all assholes. Except for me, because I'm always asleep because I work nights. So I never get to veto anything because our league, we're kind of scummy. A lot of trades get put in, really, really late at night. So I usually, when I'm on break or whatever, I don't check the league stuff. I will check the waiver, I'm going to be honest. But I don't check the league stuff. And then during the day, I just fall asleep. So a lot of the dudes in my league are scummy, and they try to put trades through. But the thing with our league, we never trade. Like I said, we're all assholes. We're all like, man, fuck you. You fucked up drafting. Now you gotta suffer the fucking consequences. Good luck on the waiver wire, bitch. So yeah. When you draft, keep this in mind. You always want to draft. You always want to have a backup plan. I draft so I have everything covered. In case I get a player injured, I'll make sure I have an extra running back, extra receivers, extra tight end. You always want to have those extra dudes ready to go. So it's better for you to have a player that you actually want playing for you than some random ass fucking dude on the waiver. So make sure you kind of draft with that mindset. Yo, if this player gets injured, I have this dude. Always have backups for your positions. Obviously, you're going to need them anyways because you're going to have to rest those players when they have their bye. And like I said, you obviously want a player that you drafted playing instead of some random dude from the waiver. Also, play the matchup game. A lot of people don't know, if you know a team is super trash, you want to play your player against that trash team. 100%. Don't, and especially if you know the other player you have on the bench or whatever has a bad matchup. He's playing a top defense and they stop the run. But then there is those exceptions. Obviously the first round draft picks that you get usually play okay even in bad matchups. But there is those players that when they have a bad matchup, they get washed and they don't do nothing for you and they don't get no points for you. So play the matchup game. A lot of the things will do it for you. They'll be like, oh, such and such has a good matchup this weekend. You should play this matchup. 80% of the time, that stuff is right. It's rare that it's not right. And yeah, so play the matchup game. If you have a really, really good matchup, obviously play the matchup. Play the player that has a good matchup over the player that has the bad one. But like I said, there's those exceptions. Usually those players that get drafted in the top 8 will still do fine. So you can play them when it comes to that situation. But other than that, unless there's one of those top 8 players, they usually don't ball out like that. when they play against a bad matchup. So, yeah, play the matchup game. Also, I forgot to say this. When you draft a QB, you're going to want a QB that scores a lot of touchdowns. Well, actually, that throws a lot of touchdowns. Because if the team is like very run heavy, obviously you're not going to get any points because you get points from yardage. So you want your TD, well, yardage and touchdowns. So you want your TD to throw the ball a lot. You want him to get a lot of yards. Obviously, that's what you want in a QB. Throws a lot of yards. Doesn't get interceptions. Interceptions, well, fuck you bad. Obviously, well, because you lose 2 points for every interception. So you want a QB that's good, gets a lot of yards, doesn't throw a lot of picks. Sometimes you get lucky and you get a QB that like gets touchdowns, that they'll run it in, quarterback sneaks and stuff. You know, like Patrick Mahomes obviously is gonna be the number 1 quarterback. He's gonna go first as QBs. So yeah, and also never draft the QB first. That just doesn't make any fucking sense. Because QBs, that position is like one of the weirdest positions. So do not draft the QB first. But yeah, yardage and TD passes. Yeah, so sorry I was a bonehead and forgot to say that, like, about drafting a QB. You know, I'm kind of tired. Your boy's like on 2 hours of sleep. But yeah, and also always make sure you guys are roasting each other in the group chat, talking that shit, making them fucking memes. It makes the league way more exciting. Hopefully this helped some of you guys. This pod was like really hard for me because there's just so much stuff, like so much. I didn't like really break anything down like mad crazy. There's a grip of podcasts out there that do break everything down mad crazy for fantasy football. You guys can go check that stuff out. Your boy don't got the time to do that. I barely was able to do this pod. I just was like, yo, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get it out. Because I actually have a wedding. My sister's getting married. Congratulations to her. So, yeah, I kind of didn't have time to, like pregame like I usually do. I usually, like, take, 2 hours, 3 hours. And, like, I'll look up stuff and I'll do research. I didn't really have that this time. I also have a lot of family over, but hopefully this pod helps some of you out. I know I kind of just like bare minimum telling you like a couple of tips and kind of broke down like the whole drafting thing. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright, so that's it for this episode. Get out of here. Just kidding. Hope you guys have a good evening. I hope you guys get lit tonight and do some fun stuff. Well, obviously I'm going to be at a wedding tomorrow, open bar. Your boy's getting lit. Gonna live it up with his family. But yeah, I hope you guys do have a good evening. I do have that pod coming with my buddy that's a doctor. So that's coming. I know I've been slacking. I'm going to get it together, get my shit together. Alright, y'all. Peace out. Take care, brothers.